and we have a very interesting segment today. Can't wait to get started. Let me introduce to you Martin Raxton, and we're going to talk a little bit about when we talk about politics and technology and the wrap of it all together. So I'm really, really excited today. Welcome, Martin.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited about this. Would you share a little bit about your journey with the audience?
Well, sure. Well, again, my name is Martin Raxton, originally from Cleveland, Ohio, and I have been in Atlanta since 1994. I worked in technology in the IT arena for over 25 years, and I've grown up really loving politics. And how that intersects and how politics intersects with technology was something that I really enjoy, to the point now that I've actually started a political action committee and something to help raise the awareness, not only from technology, but for candidates, and for candidates to ensure that we're leveling the playing grounds with a great equalizer called technology.
Now, what's really interesting about that is we all know that, some of us have just finished our midterm elections. We're getting ready to go into presidential elections coming up. And I think it's such a pertinent topic to really talk about those hidden things of those connections, because it's truly a different perspective, right?
It is.
In terms of how they support one another, and what it really means to use it. So tell us a little bit about that process. What is it that, when you're talking to, whether it's a candidate, how are you utilizing politics and technology?
Well, one of the great benefits, I would say, of technology, and gets the ear of the candidates, to say job creation. Candidates would like to say, either on a local, state, or national level, that I can bring jobs to the community and help to build the tax base. Thus, when we work with candidates, when we talk with them to say, technology is a great equalizer, how can government, how can federal funds be utilized, brought into our school systems to help really bring and build a workforce that is really tech savvy? And one thing that I think we all can say is this new generation and our younger generation, they come out seem like they understand how to use a cell phone and how to use a laptop and how to use Wi-Fi. So let's embrace that, and let's build a generation, and let's build technology, and let's put that in the hands of those that can really help sustain our economy and to build a tax base. And guess what, politicians, we want to create jobs, and this is a great way of doing that.
Well, it's really interesting that you say that, because one of the things we always are faced with is the haves and the have-nots,
Yes.
right? So what do you do about those that are not, that are underserved? They don't have the opportunity to know a laptop. We think about this newest generation, to your point, it feels like they come out knowing.
Yes.
Now, the most things we think of when we think about the technologies are cell phones,
Yes.
right? You think, oh, everybody has one. Or everybody has access to a phone,
Yeah.
and we know phone is a part of technology. Regardless, even if it's just a cell phone of hello and goodbye, it's still technology that it's using, right?
Yes.
And so these kids are coming out, but they don't really understand, because they're not as exposed as to some others.
Yes.
So part of the challenge of this understanding and this awareness is, how do we close that gap? How do we get to the gap of, the underserved to the served? What do we do in terms of making that connection?
Well, I think one of the things that's very important is to elect local officials who want to level the playing ground and believe in providing access, such as Wi-Fi, in your communities where you don't have to pay for Wi-Fi. Let's make it free. Let's make it affordable for everybody. Also, how can we partner with corporations and technology companies? One of the big things that I believe in is, certainly in the school systems, let's make sure we have computer labs. Let's make sure that we have laptops available so students can have access to get on and to do papers and to do assignments and get that access to utilizing laptops and computers. And let's also talk about what else besides being a programmer. A networker. What does an engineer mean? What does an analyst do? And to really have those public-private partnerships where federal funds are brought into the local school systems, and the school systems can provide certification and training right in the middle school and high school levels that technology companies will love to have them certified and have them ready to hit the streets running whenever they decide to move on and matriculate to secondary education or to get into that technology space.
So I really want to talk a little bit about some of the challenges that are here, right? Great concept. I think people have been talking technology for a long time. We all know that from a political arena, that it's all about creating opportunity, increasing our economic wealth, making it so that we have citizens that are contributing to society.
Yes.
Right, and able to move forward. And I don't think there's any politician on any aisle or any place that would disagree that we want to have as many jobs as we
Yes.
can. So I understand that. But I think that, we have challenges even in places of our communities. We have rural areas. We don't have Wi-Fi. We have areas that can't get access to even that broadband, or that they don't have the ability to do it. And then we talk about taking government funds to try to help us to make that happen. Well, somebody's got to prioritize that,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Somebody has to prioritize the fact that, this rural community doesn't have, but another one does, right? And what
Yes.
that looks like. And I think as we continue to talk, it's one thing to help when we're getting ready to get into those spots of making decisions. But I think another thing that's really important is, how do we educate everybody so they even understand what they're voting for, how they should vote based upon their understanding, where it means something to them.
Right.
How do we break that language down? Right?
Yes.
And so that everybody understands the basics.
Right.
We're going to take a station break, and when we come back, we're going to pick up on that topic. Be right back.
Every story has a hidden element that is not often shared. Hidden Stories, Healed Now, with host Vicki Wright Hamilton, seeks to share the hidden gems in real-life experiences. Our guests are ordinary people sharing their stories of overcoming insurmountable odds while providing hope and inspiration.
When I was in college, I had a college professor to tell me I would never, ever make it in technology. He told me that I needed to change my career, all because I took a test and got a D after studying so very hard. I knew at that point that I had to learn the game of life and survival. How did I do that? I really put on my game face so that they never knew what to expect, when, where, or how. See, life has all of its journeys and obstacles. We all have a story to tell, and we have many different paths that we take. My journey to this moment has not been easy. You have to play the game, play to win, and you win by wearing your game face. Welcome back. So as we were talking, how do we level this playing field of language? Everybody is not as exposed. Everybody doesn't know. And if you're asking, someone that's able to now go vote, a young voter,
Yes.
and you're asking them to go out to vote for the right person, how do we get to the point of educating them early, to helping them to understand the different fields, the different opportunities, what this technology really means and what it means to them? Because we all know it's all about what's in it for me, right?
Yes.
That's how we vote.
Yes.
What's in it for me?
Yes.
That's what gets our decision in terms of getting us to that point.
Absolutely. So one of the things I think it really starts with is what we used to call back in the day the dinner room conversations, and bringing the family together and having the conversations about education, about future technology. And not only are you educating the students, but also the family. And what can you do to employ and to build the family values about understanding technology? We need to hold our elected officials accountable. and not allow them to go off on these tangents and having policies and making recommendations that's not really benefiting their base and benefiting the students in our next generation. And with that, our school systems. How can we have and give resources to our schools, to our education systems? Again, the funds are coming down from the federal government, but how are they being, and what are the policies that's being decided by the school boards and the school leaders to ensure that funds are being placed into the schools to put computer science labs, to put some technology, some certification, some training. And also, by the way, we have some great partners out there that's already doing these types of things, and the schools can very easily leverage with some of these partners. One of them is Career Karma. In Career Karma, they will work with you for free. They will do assessments. They will look and see what types of fields would you, from a testing aptitude standpoint, think will be a great benefit for you. Again, from a programming, networking, engineering, security, cyber, all these different things that they will work with you, coach, and oh, by the way, help you to get the training and certifications that companies and employers want you to have coming in the door.
So let me ask a question. If you started this opportunity, right? You have created this pack, and you're really trying to bridge this gap. If someone is really interested in learning more, contributing more, doing more, understanding what it is so that they can further help even within their own community, what would that be?
So some of the things that you can do more is to go to your elected officials and go to the courthouses. Go to the county commission meetings, go to the city commission meetings, go to the planning commissions, hear what the policies are, hear what the future land usage are going to be. And then go to your school board meetings as well. Become active, because those individuals in the rooms are the ones that our local legislated and our elected officials, they really listen to. And oh, by the way, also vote. Make sure that they know that you're voting. Make sure that this is what you're going to also hold them accountable for, and that if they say that they're going to put certification, training, and make education a priority, make sure you hold their feet to the fire and that they're doing that.
Well, it's we always hear about going to legislature and going to meetings and things like that. And as I talk to a lot of the the younger generation, part of the challenge that they have is fear. And their fear is, I'm not sure I really understand what they're saying. I'm not sure I really can relate to what they're saying. So why go? Right? So the question becomes, as we start to educate, we have to educate people where they are.
Sure.
People trying to pay the light bill.
Yes.
That's what they understand.
Sure.
Right. I'm trying to get my light bill paid. I'm trying to have a roof over my head. That's what I understand. Right. And I understand how much money you're putting in my pocket so I can pay that. But how does this relate to all of that?
Yes.
And is there a relationship to that? So that we can change and help to guide some of the mindsets around what this really means.
Yes.
But they're saying fear. And we've got to close that gap of fear. I don't know. I don't understand. They're talking over my head. It doesn't make sense. What is it that we as a community can do to help to bridge that gap? Because it's one thing once you know. It's a different thing when you don't.
Right. Well, one of the things that I truly believe in is the term make it plain. Let's keep it simple. And let's ensure that our local and elected officials come to the communities, that they're coming to not only your church every 4 years when it's time to be reelected, but also coming to the schools, also coming to your community meetings, your street meetings, your different homeowners associations, and really networking and working to hear what the community has to say. One of the things that for candidates that I really respect is when they will go to a local community and they'll listen, they'll take notes, they have their staff there, and they're going to make sure that they get back and follow up with what the community has shared with them and start the children up. Let's get them in there in the elementary, in the middle schools. One of the things that I'm also a big advocate is let's take them at that age down to City Hall, to the county commission meetings, to the county and to the federal and the state courthouses so they can hear and understand the process and get used to hearing these terms so it's no longer foreign anymore. And that they know that these individuals that they're seeing on TV, these politicians that they're seeing, really, guess what? Live in their communities too, and probably live around the corner from where they do.
You know, it's very interesting concept. So we're going to take a station break. When we come back, we'll finish with the conversation and see if we have a question or comment from the audience.
Every story has a hidden element that is not often shared. Hidden Stories, Healed Now, with host Vicki Wright Hamilton, seeks to share the hidden gems in real-life experiences. Our guests are ordinary people sharing their stories of overcoming insurmountable odds while providing hope and inspiration.
When I was in college, I had a college professor to tell me I would never, ever make it in technology. He told me that I needed to change my career, all because I took a test and got a D after studying so very hard. I knew at that point that I had to learn the game of life and survival. How did I do that? I really put on my game face so that they never knew what to expect, when, where, or how. See, life has all of its journeys and obstacles. We all have a story to tell, and we have many different paths that we take. My journey to this moment has not been easy. You have to play the game, play to win, and you win by wearing your game face. Welcome back. So as we've been talking about, you said something that really triggered, and I think that these are ideas that are really important when you start talking about coming to the community, whether it is an apartment community, whether it's a homeowners association community, whether it does not matter.
Right.
Having those officials come right to where you are, where you live, listening, hearing, understanding, are the ones that are doing what we've always done when we talk about grassroots.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We're talking about grassroots in terms of learning, education, grassroots in terms of listening.
Yes.
What is it that people are asking for? What is it that they need?
Right.
And not just doing grassroots when it's time to vote.
Right.
Okay? Because you want my election, now you're going to come to my community.
Exactly.
You know, it's about, I need to see you in other times when when it's not about that, right? When it's going to be about impact too. So I think that was, that is something that's very powerful that we, can continue to make happen. As we continue to move forward. One of the things that I'd like to explore a little bit more is what is technology? People always say, oh, I got to be a programmer. Well, I don't want to be a programmer. What's a software engineer? What's an electrical engineer? What's, what's a program manager? Or what's a technical program manager? What's all these different titles and roles and things like that. And I think that, making those simple. So just to help our audience a little bit, I'd like to ask you a couple questions.
Sure.
If I had to ask you, if I was, in middle school,
Okay.
and I said to you, I really don't know what a software engineer does, what would you tell me in basic English that it is?
So I say in basic English, what a software engineer does is help to, as you hear the term zeros and ones, help to make sense of what that is and help to build out programs, help to build out applications. Pull out your phone. What's on your phone? What are some of the apps that you use on your phone? Well, guess what? There was probably a programmer or someone that helped to come up with some coding or some language to help to make that technology work. And I think one of the best ways of reducing any type of misunderstanding is to ensure that we have career days at a very young age from a technology standpoint. So those that's in technology fields can come in and they have those career days and those discussions about why I enjoy my field, what it is that I do, how is it that you can come and become a part of this particular field, what are the training, certification, education that's required to be successful. And oh, by the way, talk about the money and how much you can make and have a good career with that.
Well, that's true. You can't do that. But what if I don't like math or science? I've always been told technology is built on math and science. What do I do then?
Well, the good news is that it's not always built on math and science. You can do such things as maybe being a program manager or a portfolio manager where you're looking at schedules, where you're looking at resources, where you're looking at budgets, where you're managing the process. Doesn't mean that you have to code. Doesn't mean that you have to be a tester. Doesn't mean that you have to be doing something with network security. So there's all types of opportunities and avenues for those. They may not be science specific or technology savvy. And guess what? I'm one of those individuals.
Oh, tell me more. What you mean, one of those individuals? So you're not technology savvy. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I never program coded in my life.
But I think that's the reality, is that, we're not all programmers. I mean, I'm in the technology field, came, born, bred. So yes, I have done programming, analysts, data, all the rest of it. But everybody that is in the field has not necessarily done that because there's such a wide opportunity.
Exactly.
Let's see if we have a question or a comment from the audience.
So I know you're in politics and I know you're in technology, but I want to see if, from your perspective, are you seeing more discussions around women in tech or communities of color getting involved in tech? Is there a resurgence of sort of getting more beyond just D&I? But getting more of us here in the United States of color in tech?
Well, absolutely. And you probably or may have heard of an organization called Afrotech, which is really focused on getting more African Americans and women in technology and then just exploring those opportunities and what are possible out there. To your point, from a political standpoint, certainly I would say that more African American and just women in general are running for elected offices all across the country. And the surge is definitely real. And with that, they're bringing their experiences. With that, they're talking about technology and how do we ensure that we have a workforce that's going to meet demands for the future and for the future generations. So certainly that goes hand in hand. And even when you're talking about corporate boards and governance boards, more females, more minorities are now serving and being led to those areas. So guess what? Now we're starting to have conversations at the board level of putting together a technology committee to ensure that we're doing things that's going to protect the integrity of the organization. So absolutely, those things are definitely in play.
Great question.
Thank you.
It is, it's interesting as we see those things in play. I think that what we're doing is we're saying there's hope,
Yes.
right? There's some hope out there.
Absolutely.
We got a long way to go.
Yes, we do.
We're nowhere, by any means at the end, but there's hope.
It is.
And that if you're interested and you want to learn and you want to grow, there are tools, there are opportunities out there, there's things that you can participate in terms of making that happen.
Absolutely.
And I believe that, technology is the basis of everything we do. I mean, today you can't drive a car without the technology. You can't do a phone, our basics in life, right? Paying for your groceries, paying for your bills, It doesn't matter. Everything uses technology.
Yes.
Even if you have a prepaid card that you have money on, it takes technology to read that money to take it off, right?
Absolutely.
So I think that we all can agree that, technology is the basis of all of what we do. But I do believe it's incumbent upon all of us to do as much as we can to help to train, groom, and help others to learn as we're moving forward. Can you all join me in thanking my guests today?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of Hidden Stories Healed Now, where we share the hidden stories and the secrets behind everything we do. See you soon.